with where COVID and the current pandemic is at. Currently, just as a reminder, employees need to use all of their current paid time before they're eligible to use or utilize the 80 hours of emergency sick leave offered by the city. That's how it stands currently. Just wondering if we want to move forward and extend it for another quarter through March 31st, or what are your wishes?
Committee, anything? Comments, questions? Has anybody been using this?
We are starting, just currently, we've started to see a couple employees that have had to use this coming up just because it's the end of the year. As we move to the beginning of 2022, I don't see the need to be there. However, there is that possibility. So it's been minor. It's not being abused. That I can speak to confidently, but we have had a couple in the last couple of weeks that will need to be utilizing it for their current situations.
Okay. Great.
I have a question. So your sick leave policy now is they utilize the 80 hours, or what do they have?
Well, currently, as it stands at this last emergency plan that was put in place, they have to use all of their paid time off that they currently have. So that's vacation, floaters, sick, and personal time.
Right, and how many?
They typically at the beginning of the year they get 80 hours of sick leave. So that's just over 5, and depending if it's a newer employee for the first 7 years or 5 years, they would have 2 weeks of vacation. So you're looking at 5 weeks plus 2 days.
Okay, so if it was, I broke my arm, I used my 80 hours, and then I get, if I'm off the other 4 weeks, it's paid in full, correct?
Through FMLA?
Right.
Correct.
But the city pays them
Correct.
full after they use their 80.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
If I, whatever, broke my knee and I have to be off for six
Yep.
months, let's say. So I use my 80 hours and then the rest is paid in full by the city.
Correct.
So for the only difference is with the COVID, they have to use their sick leave, vacation, and whatever time off they have. But it doesn't qualify for FMLA like in a regular
Correct.
illness.
Correct.
So was this, I don't recall now, was this a reset that was done, or is this so the original leave that was granted, I mean, this is another 80 hours, right? This is just the ability to use a leave that was given at some point.
Correct. So going back to last year of 2020 and the first part of 2021, employees were able to use the 80 hours of emergency leave straight up if it was COVID related.
Right.
Then this last reset we did, because it had expired, but then we needed to revisit it. This last reset was on the premise of you had to use your own current paid time prior to
Right.
getting the emergency 80. That's where we sit today.
Right. But at that point, that was, everyone was given a new
Correct.
80. So that,
Yep.
what was the date of that? That was probably in the,
I believe it was August of 21,
okay,
and that was to run
Right.
through 12/31.
right, okay.
Yep.
All right, yep, thanks.
I have another question. Wasn't it redone 3 times?
It was redone 3 times.
So you got 80, 80, 80. No? Just twice?
I believe it was just twice, and then this last time was the third reset.
But they had to
Required-
use their own time.
Correct. Yep.
And the 80 was not refilled. So if you had 60 hours in the bank, you didn't get it bumped up to 80, correct? It was just It wasn't refilled, not reset, refilled. Okay.
Patrick?
I was just wondering if there's any dollars that help pay for this from the federal government. I think that they did have some programs for COVID-related stuff. Does this fall under that category?
I don't believe at this time it does. When it was first happening a year ago, those, I know, Finance Director Tim DeSorcy was tracking what was being utilized and what was being paid via that format. Yep.
I make a motion to end, so this would end December 31st. Is that correct, or today?
December 31st.
I make a motion to not renew this, effective the beginning of the year.
I'll second it. The motion in a second. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Item number 3, discuss and consider for approval a request for a Tier 11 firefighter position within the WRFD. Chief?
So if you remember, this was all part of the arrangement or agreement when we took on the new EMS contracts in the town of Port, city of Nakusa, and the town of Cranmore. Was in order to affect that, we were going to need that 11th tier that was open yet. So we had 2 crews that were at 11 and 1 at 10. And then we would bump our minimum staffing up to 9, which is something I can do in-house or whoever is the chief. But as the interim chief, I can bump that staffing up at any point. But we need that 11th tier filled. So during the property and finance meeting, Tim discussed the cost analysis of that from what the money we're bringing in through retainer fees and what's projected as collectibles, and that more than offset the cost of that 11th tier firefighter with some extra money going to the general fund. So I guess I'm requesting that we get the okay from the HR committee and then eventually common council to fill that 11th tier.
Any questions?
I make a motion to approve.
Any more discussion? There's a motion on the floor to approve this. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Item number 4, discuss and consider for approval the attached revision of the overtime and on-call pay policy. Ryan?
Yes, thank you. What we're looking to do here is just bring more consistency to the areas in particular. This will affect the engineering department, that they would receive $30 per day for being the on-call person over the weekend. That will make that consistent with the relief supervisor role as stated in the street department as well. So
Committee, any questions? Anybody else? If not, I'll make a motion to approve the overtime and on-call pay policy. Second. There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Item number 5, discuss and consider for approval the attached revision of the copy and fax machine use policy. Ryan?
thank you. Again, this is always an exciting policy to go through. What we're looking to do here for 25 cents.
I'll pay. Pay.
What we're looking to do here is just insert the language of limited personal use down to, and I believe it was 5 copies, and then changing, since we don't have a treasurer's office, to the finance department. So relatively minor changes, but with everybody's should be ease of access at home and with their own devices. There shouldn't be a need for a lot of personal use on on city equipment.
Questions? Go ahead, Sherry.
This isn't specific to this policy, but I know I had made a referral to look at all of the policies and to make it a little bit shorter. And I know you're going to check with Sue to find out if we needed to list every time that was incorporated and approved, and by whom. Do we need all that in there? What's the status of all that?
I don't think, I never followed up with Sue on that, but as you can see, this is a nice shortened one. So, and I left off the previous versions or revisions. So that's something I would have to talk with Sue about. I don't know if Sue's able to answer that right now.
Yeah, I think as long as the HR department retains, the history of what changes were made when, I don't think it needs to be on the bottom of each policy.
Because the clerk would have that, I mean, it would be in the minutes anyways of the policies that were passed and when, so that those would always be there anyways. I don't think it's kind of redundant to leave it on there. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? There's a motion, I'll second it. There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item number 6, the committee may vote to go into closed session under section 19.851E Wisconsin Stats, which reads, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever the competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. In closed session, the committee will discuss negotiation and bargaining strategy regarding labor negotiations with IAFF and WRPPA. I'll make a motion to go into closed session. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We are in closed session. Item number 9 on the agenda is the committee will return into open session. Item number 10, the committee may take action in open session regarding the employment and compensation for an employee and such separation agreement. Do we have to make a motion on this to refer it? I'll make a motion to refer the discussion in closed session to the full council next Tuesday. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Ayes have it. Item number 11, consider the status of the Public Works Director's position and its possible elimination. Committee? There's a motion to move this to refer this to council as well. I'll second that. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Item number 12, discuss and consider for approval a request from Mayor Blazer for an organizational restructure of the Department of Public Works. See the attached committee. There's a motion on the floor. I'll second that. There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, with that, we are up to number 13, which is adjournment. We did that in closed session. Done in closed session. There's a motion. Motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 6:23. Thank you.